You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans. Well, the new promo is out. Julie Williams is saying goodbye to her beloved husband, Doug Williams, but we're also getting a surprising new addition to the cast as a very cute bad boy rolls into town at just the right moment. And there's a little bit of foreshadowing to do with this in the promo, so we're going to talk about that as well. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and before we break all this down and tell you what's coming and when to expect the scenes from the promo, please click subscribe if you're not following. Also, stick around towards the end when we're going to show you some of the promo's key scenes. Let's get right into it. So as you know, Doug passed away last week on Thanksgiving. He did not wake up when Jack went upstairs to get him up for dinner, and soon everybody's rushing into Salem. We are going to spend the entire week of December 2nd through the 6th saying goodbye to Doug. There's a lot of big returns for this momentous event, which coincides with the 15,000th episode of the long-running NBC soap, and everybody's coming to town on Monday the 2nd. I mean, we're hitting the ground running next week, right into the mourners coming, into the funeral, all of that. So some scenes to anticipate are everybody wondering who is coming back for his memorial. And if you listen here regularly, then we've been telling you about it. And if you're current on episodes, you know that Hope Brady and her kids, Siara Brady and Shawn-Douglas Brady, all know that Doug's passed and they are on the way back to town. They arrive on Monday, December 2nd. That's when they hit Salem, just in time for the funeral. And of course, Hope is devastated to lose her beloved father. Despite being crushed to learn Doug passed, Hope got this beacon of light last week. I just want to mention this. If you haven't seen the episode, or if you didn't watch the last few minutes, she had gone to see Bo at the clinic where he's still, recovering, still comatose. And she told Bo that her dad passed away and his hand twitched in hers. I mean, we know he's coming out of that coma and they're back to Salem in 2025, but this was Hope's first inkling that Bo is on the way back to her, even though she had this terrible news about her dad, Doug. And Belle Black is also back on Monday the 2nd. She was already kind of back on the scene for, the big anniversary thing, but now she's back again and has scenes with her now ex-husband, Shawn Brady, on Tuesday the 3rd. And if you saw the Day of Days promo, you know that Belle is about to rebound with EJ DiMera, but that'll be after the funeral and the memorial and the toast to Doug. And there's going to be lots of those this week. Meanwhile, Lucas Horton is back on the scene with his family for this sad occasion. Of course, his return is also Monday. And after the funeral, when he's with Shawn and Jennifer Horton, they are very happy to see that Siara has figured out a way to open up the mystery box containing the time capsule that Alice Horton left behind to be opened in 2016 or later. The time capsule is opened on Tuesday the 3rd. And of course, Jen and Lucas and Shawn are staring in shock that Siara pulled this off. And that is in this promo, also in the Day of Days promo, if you've seen that one. But then something goes missing from the time capsule on Wednesday the 4th, and I suspect it's something to do with the new bad boy in town. There are a ton of toasts and loves and fond memories of Doug Williams this week. We're going to be getting a lot of flashbacks. Eli and Lonnie, Paulina and Abe, they're all dressed in black, toasting at their place, likely on Monday before the funeral, but it could be after the funeral on Tuesday. Same for Roman, Patch, and Kayla, all dressed in black and toasting Doug at the pub. And a huge return is teased in a quick flashback scene of a young Julie and her brother Stephen Olsen back in the day. And now on Monday, Stephen shows up to peep in the window and stuns Julie as he says, "Hey sis, long time no see." And although she's grieving Doug, it is very clear that Julie's happy to see her brother Stephen. And he is also back on Monday the 2nd. And then in a strange twist, he meets Leo in the town square on Wednesday the 4th. Two big rivals hit Salem on Monday in time for Doug's memorial. That's Liz Chandler and Marie Horton. and Liz quips that Marie doesn't seem that delighted to see her. Watch for Liz, played by the always delightful Gloria Loring, to perform Always at Doug's funeral service. And although the celebration of Doug's life and Bill Hayes' decades on Days of Our Lives lasts all week, the funeral itself begins on Monday the 2nd to coincide with the 15,000th episode of Days. We've got scenes of Julie crying on his portrait at the funeral and thanking friends and family in attendance. Take a look at this scene from the promo.
With the celebration of life.
I lost the love of my life today, but I feel love all around me from all of you.
And attending Doug's memorial, you will see in row 1, there's Lucas, Marlena with her arm around Julie, then there's Maggie and Marie. In the second row, we've got Stephen, Siara, Shawn, Lonnie, and Eli. And in the row behind them, there's Jen, Jack, Roman, Kayla, and Patch. And in the back row, you can see Paulina, Abe, Belle, and Liz. There are some other scenes that are key as well, of Gabby comforting JJ, who is obviously devastated to lose Doug. And of course, Doug's beloved daughter, Hope, Daddy's little girl. You know, she spends some time alone at his grave. So look at this part of the promo with Hope at her father's grave.
I love you so, so much.
And in addition to saying goodbye to Doug Williams, we're going to say hello to his bad boy grandson, who seems to have the same streak of mischief as his namesake granddad. And in case you don't remember, Doug hired a surrogate to carry a child that was made with IVF, a test tube baby, way back in the day before it was that common. That was after Addie's death because he did not want Hope to grow up as an only child. But then Doug had a change of heart and let the nanny, who was the surrogate and egg donor, leave Salem with his biological son, Douglas LeClaire, aka Doug Jr. So this coming week, we have Peyton Meyer debuting on Tuesday the 3rd. Yeah, I think it's Tuesday the 3rd. He is going to be playing Douglas Williams the 3rd. So just for now, I'm going to call the new kid Dougie until we get through the funeral, just to avoid confusion with me having to say young Doug and old Doug. So we'll see next week when he debuts if they're going to call him Doug or Dougie or, you know, Trey, something like that. That's kind of a common nickname for a third person in the line. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm hoping for Dougie. And so they've kind of hinted that Doug's grandson is a bad boy. And Peyton Meyer even said so in an interview. He's kind of this whole callback to how Doug was way, 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 way back in the day. And kind of the Easter egg for this, and I'm going to show you in just a second, is that there's a part of the promo with Doug laying in prison. He's got an ashtray laying on his chest. You could just smoke in prison back then. And he did a 2-year stint for his con artist ways back then. So when something goes missing from the time capsule, I have to wonder if new guy Dougie took it. There's a photo of him with what looks like a bracelet or a necklace in his hand at the Horton house. So that might have been in the capsule. So I do wonder if Dougie turned up to say a real goodbye to the granddad that we assume he's never met, unless Days is doing a big retcon. Or, you know, maybe Dougie came to grab some sort of inheritance with sticky fingers and is planning to, you know, loot under Julie's nose. Hopefully she'll shake that out of him right away. And if you forgot about Doug's prison stint way back then, here's a quick look at that part of the promo.
It's time to say goodbye.
Days of Our Lives marks a milestone. 15,000 episodes.
Next week looks really good, but the promo overall was honestly mostly just the photos I showed you, which I've shared with you here, and I shared you the 3 good clips. And the rest of it was stuff we either saw in the Day of Days promo or it's just filler. So there's good stuff to see, but they didn't put it all in the promo. They're saving it all for the episode, so be sure and watch.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.